See where that hockey player got killed?
Yeah.
I was at the career center. We had a teacher, 3 kids, husband, and then went to the.
So are you going to that art center reception on Friday? The Golden Legacy reception? You got to hand it to artists. They send you a save the date 2 months ago, formal invitation to follow.
And it comes today.
No formal invitation. So I asked Jody, I haven't seen an invitation. So I guess their marketing director quit or whatever. So I go on Facebook Messenger. I send him a message trying to figure out Golden Legacy reception still taking place. Thank you for reaching us. You may also reach Deborah at mansfieldart.org. So I send Deborah at mansfieldart.org. Undeliverable. That lady's left too. Packed house this morning.
Carl.
What up?
Hello.
Me.
Good to see you at the parade, Carl.
Yeah, it was a good parade. I like parades that begin and end on time and last about 12 minutes. It was perfect.
Yep, I'll go along with that.
That Belleville mare, she just is a machine.
Getting it done.
Getting a dog park too.
Saw that.
She's just moving and shaking.
I didn't see you at the parade, Tony. Apparently you're not running for re-election anymore.
I have a kid that has it's just harder with a kid now. I'm not trying to make excuses, but she had swim lessons and that was a disaster. Out of the 7 kids, we had to take her out because she wouldn't go in the pool. It was a rough weekend in the Vero house.
Al's on too. Okay, it is 9:30. This is the Board of Richland County Commissioners. I'm Darrell Banks, your fellow Commissioner Tony Vero, Stacy Carl, our clerk. Online, we have Carl Hunnell and Al Lawrence from the news media. And we're going to start with other. And the first thing on other is to certify the proceedings for July the 1st.
So moved.
I will second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Next thing is to approve requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
And can we get a motion to accept the OPWC grant for bridge replacement?
So moved.
Second.
The only thing I want to add is that, I mean, we don't, that e-sign policy, so now they're not sending them to us. Sign online. Daryl and I both read the rules and restrictions, and it's pretty much if you don't e-sign, they may not do business with you anymore.
Exactly.
I put those in your folder if you want to discuss them, but
They basically said,
Just tell me where to go to e-sign, I'll e-sign.
yeah, Daryl's doing it now as the chairman.
Okay.
So it was just kind of so, but I'm still going to print out the agreements and have us approve them on the record.
right,
So that, because we're entering into agreements for the engineer's office, but it was pretty much,
yeah, in two places, they basically said, you have a choice. Signed by you.
They hold the money, they hold the power. Unless you're a county commissioner, it seems like you hold the money and have no power. So,
Commissioner,
Yes,
Commissioner Barrow.
yes.
okay. Now we have delinquent wastewater of $409,452.97. How about a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow.
Yes.
And we have coronavirus relief funds, review new request from Common Pleas Court. They're asking for $29,456.12.
So this one is close. I thought the judges did a great job with the letter explaining the request. Only slight hesitation, although I'm still inclined to improve it, is they do have existing equipment, but it is quite outdated. And this is to carry out video processes for the courts. But if you ask me, it's a response to the pandemic. We're still operating under the old coronavirus relief funds. Those need to be expired by the end of December. I think should an auditor question us, we have a very well-written letter from the judges explaining the need for this appropriation or request for appropriation. So I am inclined to approve it. So I'll make the motion.
Leaves us with not a whole lot of money.
No, we need to use it. Not that you just use it because it still has to meet the guidelines, but
Yeah. I will second.
Commissioner Banks,
yes.
Commissioner Barrow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Is there any other?
I got nothing.
Okay. At 10 a.m., we will go into executive session with the prosecutor for pending court action.
What were those, the judge's COVID requests for?
They would like updated computer equipment. Hold on a second. They want upgraded video technology to give the court the ability to provide access to justice. Multi-channel audio, video recording, sound systems, presentation systems, video conferencing, enterprise room control, video walls, and language translation connectivity.
All right, sounds good to me.
Tony, can you send me a copy of that letter?
Sure.
And the meeting at 10:30 with the Board of Elections, what's that going to be about, or what can you tell me? I have a Board of Control meeting that's in person at 10 o'clock, and I'll rush back if it's something that's earth-shattering.
So they're going to be requesting upgraded software for voters to go in and retrieve voter information. We have pretty outdated software in the Board of Elections. So they're coming in to present to us with the new software. So let's say, Carl, this will assist. Let's see Republicans in a certain ward. Let's see Democrats in a certain ward. What are the breakdowns in this ward? We don't have the capabilities to do that, and it's very outdated.
And any idea what the financial request is going to be, or do you know already?
Not at this time.
I'll try to be back on at 10:30.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll come back at 10:30 also.
Oh my gosh, we can hardly contain ourselves. We're so excited.
I can tell you're on video now.
Right. You
You're
can
so
see me
excited.
anytime.
You're so excited you're walking away.
Well, yeah, I got to send the letter. You know, you media people are demanding.
We are. We certainly are.
I'd just like to know where's the Darrow camp.
He's the only,
This is- this
he's
is
the
all
only
you're
one
getting.
there.
This is
So
all
this
you're
the
getting.
Darrow camp.
Al, this is all it's gonna be. And if I can figure out where the plug is, you may not get it.
Okay, I was gonna say, just thank goodness nobody's called for a Tony camp.
Oh, no, nobody wants that. All right, I'll see you guys a little bit.
Okay. No. At 9:37, we are at recess. So did you do any soccer in this week?
Your personal opinion of the commissioner.
You don't even live in Richland County.
That means I can be fully objective, right?
Yeah, that's
Right here for a Tuesday.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Okay,
No,
it is 10 o'clock and the Board of Commissioners are in session and we want to move to executive session. Prosecutor pending court action. So moved. Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yeah.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
second.
And
that issue as well.
You're a courageous man.
Not quite.
Are we here?
Okay,
10:06, and we are back in regular session of the Richland County Board of Commissioners after meeting with our legal force. Do you have a motion to make, Mr. Vera?
This time I'll make a motion to vote in favor of the Chapter 11 plan of the Purdue Pharma class action lawsuit and or reorganization.
And I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we will stand in recess until 10:30. Thank you, gentlemen. And Stacy. Can we talk? Nope, nope.
Okay, all right, my fault. Now we're ready, right?
Almost. All right, now you can.
Okay, it's still 10:30. And this is the Board of Richland County Commissioners. We have been joined by WMFD Archie and our Board of Elections, Jane Zimmerman and Matt is here. And Jose is with them. And since they didn't give me your last name, I'm not going to say Matt's last name. I know. Okay, well, we are here to discuss some software that the Board of Elections are interested in. So tell us what you would like to do.
Well, you want to start? I'll let you start on it.
Okay, currently we have a voter registration system called DIMS, which we purchased in 2004 and is still in use. And
You try to make it sound like 2004 was.
Yeah, it was a few years.
that's a few years, and we have been behind the 8 ball in some aspects of with reporting with the Secretary of State, because just as a visual, all the red counties are triad systems, blue counties are DIMS. So to say that triads relationship.
When you say Dems, you don't mean Democrats and Republicans. Let's be clear for
DIMS.
IMS for the news.
Yeah, so you can definitely see that triad's relationship with the Secretary of State is pretty well established. And they work really well together as far as the reports go. As far as the ease of use, it is way easier for the clerks to use. And then on the flip side, the public gets to access all that information also.
So what do you mean by access? So let's say you're member Joe and Jane Public, and you say the public can access that information. What do you mean?
Meaning they can go on our website, they can download voter registration lists, they can do absentee lists, they can see archives of all the elections, results,
Campaign finance.
campaign finance.
Media.
Yep.
Questions and issues.
So are they able to do that now? And I'm asking questions open-ended so members of the public can understand why we're asking what we're asking.
Then
If
what-
they need a walking list, they call.
Yeah, they cannot have access to any of that. They have to call us for that. Right now, it's pretty limited to just what the voter pertains to the voter as far as where they vote and their sample ballots.
So do you want to walk us through a couple examples here, Jose?
Right. Actually, I'd like to kind of start before I hit that,
Sure.
talking about Triad, the company.
Okay.
I've been with Triad for 20 years. We have an approach to business that is based on the only thing we care about is Ohio. We don't care what's going on in other states. When it comes to voter registration, the only place we work is in Ohio. We have 7 people that are committed to support counties. We have more than that in the company, but the ones that directly provide support for the counties, there's 7 of us. And about 3 years ago, we only had 63 counties. The state had a lot of people get canceled. The voter registrations were canceled because they're not able to track things. They don't change when the state changes, they don't change. And out of 63 counties, we had 1 person get canceled that should not have been canceled, according to the state. And when we researched it, we found out that a clerk had not updated an activity date, which is one of the processes that we teach to keep people current and alive in the system. Since then, we have 5 counties convert to us, and we're in the process of converting Wayne. So that'll be County 69. We started converting them in May. Everything that we do with our software is based on the state needs, Ohio Revised Code, or anything that the Secretary of State changes. We firmly believe that once a county has committed to us and has bought a compliant system, it is not their fault when it's not compliant anymore. The biggest constant in elections is that change happens all the time. The state constantly changes the rules. Life, like COVID, changes the rules. And when that happens, we change our software. And when we change our software, we don't charge the counties that have already committed to us anything for that. Because we believe that the software license agreement that they pay should guarantee them that we stay compliant. I know that the other vendors don't do that. When they're told that they have to change things, they go to their counties and say, this is how much it's going to cost you to change. We don't believe that that's the way we should do things. We believe if a county trusts us to have a compliant system, it is our responsibility to stay compliant. The other thing that we're big on is support. We think it's ridiculous to have software if you don't support it. That's like saying, I have a car dealership, but I'm never open to fix your car. You know, you have to have somebody that's going to respond. Now, I was talking to you earlier, Daryl, and I'm retired Air Force. You know, we have the mentality that if you call because you're a county and you need help, you don't need a trouble ticket that basically says wait in line until we have time to help you. Somebody's going to answer the phone at our company. If somebody doesn't, it goes to a voicemail. Every one of us gets that voicemail. The very first one that responds to the rest of the team saying, I'm calling Richland, is calling Richland. Everybody else backs off. We're going to talk you through it, or we're going to remote in and fix whatever we have to fix, or we're going to drive here and get it taken care of.
So Jose, just for the public's perspective, what role does this software play in voter tabulation?
Well, we manage all the absentee software. We manage all the election workers. We manage all the voter registrations. So if you are not registered, if you don't stay registered, if you can't get an absentee ballot for the tabulation.
Phrase that just so I think what I'm asking is this software doesn't go to counting the actual ballots, correct?
It does not.
Okay, I think the public needs to understand we're not talking about some of the issues that are out there, right, wrong, or indifferent.
That is correct.
Okay.
We do not tabulate, but what we do provide is the information that's going to tell our Board of Election customer exactly how many ballots should be tabulated. And we will use that to audit any discrepancies that might exist. We have reports that will say by precinct, and even in the primaries by precinct and by party, how many ballots should be counted absentee. And then when they compare it to the tabulation report, we will know if anybody's off. And not only will we know where they're off, that they're off, we will know where they're off. We're going to know it's in this precinct, this precinct, this precinct. And then that's where we zoom in. We will teach them. That's where you zoom in. And that's where you find the problem. So it is not going to tabulate anything, but it is going to give them the ability to manage the tabulation process by giving them the ability to audit anything, because these numbers better match these. Like I tell them, like I tell our counties when I'm training them. You don't go to the bank and celebrate that you got a paycheck. You don't know what should have been deposited. You get your pay stub, that bank better have that amount. The absentee reports that we provide is going to hold the tabulation system accountable to make sure that's the amount of ballots that are counted. Because we manage every registration and every absentee ballot that is requested.
So you will be cleaning up the rolls. What I mean by that is my son, when he got out of college and he lived with us off and on for several years, and then he left, and he was still getting information as if he was a voter for years after that. That's the kind of thing that gets cleaned up, right?
That is correct. Our advice code is very.
We do that now, though, don't we?
We do.
Right, as I was going to say.
In a sense, there's something called the national change of address, which we are just in the process of doing.
So if he registers in another state, then you take him off.
It depends what state. He has to let us know that he registered. He has to do his cancellation. There's some states where we can get notice from, but there's going in depth There's a system called ERIC, where some states are aligned with it and some are not. So it is ultimately the voter's responsibility. Now, if you moved within Ohio, yes, they'll be notified.
Okay.
With our system, we track activity. So if they have not had activity in a certain time frame, we will identify that when it's called the supplemental process. You have the national change of address, and whenever they do the national change of address, then the Secretary of State provides us with date ranges that say they haven't had activity from here to here. Then you're authorized to put them in a confirmation status and identify to them that they will be canceled in the future if they don't have any activity. And that is when those people get that notice and then they reply saying, hey, you can disenroll me now. And if they never reply, there's another time frame that's going to be respected. And when that time frame is met, then those people that have never replied to that initial notice will be canceled. We think it's important that we keep the rosters current.
So could you walk us through printing out a walking list so the members, this is something that would be very vital to the public.
There is a lot more than walking lists.
Sure. I mean, we don't need to go through every scenario, but right now our Joe or Jane public can't do any of this.
On the walking list, if you go to candidate and voter tools, if you look up, scroll down for a voter report generation. Here, we can do labels, we can do reports, we can do downloadable files, which is comma separated
CSV.
databases. Yep. Statistical reports. And if you just wanted a walking list, you could do a PDF report. And come on down and you could select no election filter. If you wanted to select elections involved, you have the options to do that. If you just want to keep it simple and scroll down and you want everybody, come on down and you want it for just, if you want it for just one precinct or a whole district, or if you do no filtering, just so click on no filtering at the very top. That's going to be the whole county. So just to keep it small, go ahead and do one precinct. But I just want to tell you, if they wanted the whole county, they would do no filtering.
Click this.
Up there, no, go up to additional filtering. Go ahead and do filter on precinct where it was. Yeah, that way it's just going to be short. Okay, no filtering and be the whole county. It'll take a little. So in the interest of time, and now here we can say what they want. They can have an alphabetical list, a list by precinct alphabetical, a walking list if that's the example you want, or a precinct walking list. So if you just want to do a walking list.
And as of now, I just want to be clear, we have no capabilities to do this in Richland County. So when we talk about voter transparency, if people want to make sure they can see registered voters, as of now, they cannot do that with our software.
So start process.
You have to call one of our employees and they would have to generate it and email them.
And now you hit download my file.
There it is.
And open it up. Just click on it. And there's a walking list that they can print. Okay. And they could do it for the whole county, by precinct, by district. They can do absentee reports. They can go and the candidates can go and get everybody that just got an absentee request today. And they can stay current that way on who they're going to be mailing stuff to.
Print their own labels.
They can print their own labels.
Campaign finance.
Your citizens would be able to use our free app
There's an app associated with it too.
that they can do their settings, and this is for me, and they can go and see everything. I can see everything Montgomery has for me. And this app is free to any citizen that wants to use it. Here's all my history, all my voter history, all my voting districts, directions to my polling place. Every element of data that we store, we load to the website. The biggest benefits that counties get from us that they tell us when we convert them is that all the time that they used to do public records requests is now free to do something else. Because Everybody can go to the website and get anything they want. We have elected officials out
So it sounds like Matt and Jane are trying to get out of work, doesn't it, Daryl?
there.
I think we only need one of them now.
You know, Paulette never tried to get out of work, right? It was
See,
always,
these directions to my polling place from the website.
let's talk, as you know, commissioners always want to know the number one question out there. Can you imagine what that's going to be?
I know exactly what it's, and I'm talking about that.
What is it going to be?
Well, here's the deal. What I've talked to them about already, I gave them a ballpark estimate that was verbal. And the reason for that is we have to be careful that we don't give anything in writing, because if they go out to bid, that's a public record that other vendors can request, and now they can underbid us. We talked to them about that. We gave them Ohio Revised Code that they could go to the prosecutor on to justify why they could go sole source. Well, reasons that we say that they can go sole source is we are the only vendor that does this. That's a voter registration vendor. We are the only vendor that automatically uploads all the data every night. Every night it's made current. We are the only vendor that keeps track of your elected officials. If somebody gets replaced today and they do the update today, tonight, that elected official is on your website as current elected official. We're the only vendor that has questions and issues software module that people can go online and see their issue. We're the only vendor that has a campaign finance module that if they also get the online system for it, you can go check all your campaign finance information online yourself.
He's a salesman. You notice that he still doesn't answer the question.
You know, so because we're the only ones who can do that, we gave them that information. The prosecutor has told them already that they can do that
Without going to bid.
without going to.
Correct.
But
But at some point in time, should the county offices decide, and you don't have to, I mean, I think this is good from the voter transparency point of view that certain members of the public, right, wrong, or indifferent, are concerned with. Voters now have access to records. They don't have to be concerned about behind the scenes information. So let's talk about the benefits from a transparency side. That's obviously number one. Number two, just ease of access to get to information would be vitally important. So, I mean, looking at this, I'm familiar with this. We've discussed this in the past. This is good for members of the public, but at the same time, the public's going to want to know what the price tag is, and that would eventually have to come to us.
what I have already told them is when their board meets and considers the ruling of the prosecutor, if they make a motion that says, we want to pursue triad, we will not go out for bid. And if the board votes for that, at least 3-1, and they tell us, and it's in the minutes, and they tell us, hey, we want exact numbers, I'll give them down to the penny with the exact numbers. And the other thing that we do is they can buy it all at one time, or we can give them a 3-year payment plan or a 2-year payment plan. It makes it easier for them. The other thing on the finance side of the house is I've been with Triad 20 years and we've increased prices twice before. Next year, we're going to increase only for the third time since
The
I've been
annual
there.
maintenance.
On the annual maintenance. The software license agreements, annual cost. We've twice in the past since I've been there, we've said, hey, it's going to have to go up this much. We're going up next year a little bit. We've already told every single county, this is how much we're going up. Because
We can't get grandfathered in on the old costs then?
no. Because every one of our current customers is going to have to go in with the new costs next year. Right now, your system, and I know this because every system that we converted has told us this, every year they automatically increase how much it's going to cost. Is that correct?
So Jane and Matt, a couple things. Let's ask this. Have you guys and your board begun discussing if you have any money set aside for such expenditures? Or would this be a request for the full amount?
Why we're here,
So what does that mean?
Pharaoh.
Well, but I guess they're saying I don't want to share the price at this time, which I understand, but sooner or later the price is going to have to share. And if the Board of Elections is saying, we don't have any money set aside, then we as commissioners are gonna need to know what the price tag the taxpayers are looking at. I think the taxpayers obviously would want this for the reasons we discussed, but I mean, if it's $1 million, which is not going
No,
right, but I think I mean,
We're gonna be under 100.
under 100 could be 99 and under 100 could be 15. They're both under 100.
Closer to the 99.
See how when you become a commissioner, you know how to ask the questions. We hear ballpark, we hear approximate, we hear under.
The annual fee compared to what we have now is, I believe, about 5,000 to 6,000 less.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a 2,000.
So let's say it's 99 and if it's $6,000, so if I do 99 and yeah, I mean, let's see here. That's 16 and a half years it'll pay for itself.
Right.
Barring any increase in fees there on that.
in our old software vendor always does increase. I mean,
and I don't want to badmouth the other vendors, but the reality is this. The state comes out and says you have to change the software. They invoice for that every time. Or they don't update the software. So you don't do that. We update the software.
Let's say we say yes, I want to implement, so the taxpayers could utilize this software and see a transparent voting
our
process.
goal is to start after the November election. I mean, they'll start on some data prior to.
We will not invoice anything until after January. It might not even be until February or March.
So
We
could
would like to have it up and running before the next primary.
Could you guys as a board of elections begin setting aside some money for this process if we approve it? And I'm just asking.
Has your board voted yet?
Yeah, I mean, where do you stand with the board?
No, we have not yet, because if there was no money, then obviously that's what the board votes on, right? I mean.
So you're asking the commissioners for the money.
Well, I mean,
But you-
wanting to see what your interest is and then.
I think we're interested, but we
We're interested contingent upon price.
If the board meets and says, we want to
And
pursue
we are
this,
meeting today, by the way.
and they say, we want to pursue this and we want to vote to not go for bid within 2 days, I can have you down to the penny how much it's going to cost.
So what do you want to do, Daryl? Just give a head nod to say, go discuss it with the board and talk more definitive pricing?
When the price comes in.
I think that they should talk to their board.
Right. But I think what he's saying is if we're saying heck no, they're not even going to talk to their
Well,
board about it.
I don't think we're saying heck no.
We'll take it to our board.
This is something I've discussed with Jane for several years now, so.
Another financial issue that the board is gonna have. As you know, we had our director retire this year. And that was a $29,000 buyout. And then we also have our next longest tenured employee, Debbie Obenauer, that just let us know she will be retiring August 31st. Another 20,000. Those two into the budget.
Stacey, I thought we put Paulette's retirement in
Took it out of salary.
and put it into,
But we have it
we have it.
in contingent.
into
Okay.
What we built in, not that we don't trust anyone, when this new iteration of the board in Maryland and now Cliff, we wanted to make sure money couldn't be set aside. So when we know that there are retirements, we take them out of salaries and move them. And when the time comes, we put them in. So that way, if the retirement doesn't happen, there isn't
Extra.
29,000 sitting in salaries, because there has been histories where those line items can be used for other means. So it was all part of this, a new commissioners tightening up the budget process.
So is your payout line item negative to show me the whole amount that hers was? Because I
Yes.
can transfer that money.
Yes,
So that's good planning by your board of commissioners.
it is.
I'll look at it.
Pretty impressed. I just wanted to make sure, and also to let you know that, Debs will be coming up.
Okay,
Well,
well, that's a legal obligation we have to pay, and
at this time, we're doing some restructuring of employees. I'm not sure that we're gonna backfill Debs right now. We're gonna try some different things out there.
The software ought to help that, right?
It should.
Well, this is good too. Again, I keep harping on the transparency and I don't want to go down the Dominion voting machine situation. That's for another conversation, but it's also good to know that this software isn't a part of the voter tabulation process. So if people are concerned that this is for hacking or any of that, that's not what this software is for. So we need to be very clear. This is a positive, this would be a positive upgrade in transparency and just technology. And as you can see, we're one of the last counties that are using significantly outdated voter software. So the voters and the public should want this.
Yeah, definitely.
And would you guys agree?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just.
Get that media that the Board of Elections, a Republican and a Democrat both agree that this is important to the public.
Just to be
We
clear,
agree on a lot now.
I'm just making sure in the climate that we're all on the same page.
I don't remember your mother coming up this often and asking for money.
No, he hasn't even been on the job that long. Oh, it's in the ballpark. It's under 100. Well, a lot could be under 100. $5 is under 100.
just to be clear, so because finances are important, we understand how important they are, and what we try to do is make it affordable, and we are willing to do a payment plan where we divide the cost, the purchase cost. Let's say the example of 3 years. And then the first year payment would be 1/3 of that. And then the data conversion cost and the training cost. The second year would be the second third plus what this software license agreement would have been. Software license cost would have been for the second year, and the same thing for the third year. So that price, I tell people, you're only paying every year for software, for this software. You're just going to switch that money to us and add a little more, not a whole 100,000.
Well, I believe, knock on wood, we have focused on capital investment in the county, whether it's the 911 center. We've done building improvements. And we talk about running the county as a business. And one way you keep a business strong and vibrant is by capital investments, which this would be. So we have money in our capital projects fund. We're not saying that, but I mean, I think we'd look at all payment options. Should we approve it, whether we want to pay it all up front or we wanted to spread it out over 3 years, we certainly wouldn't need to borrow. So the money's there, presuming that doesn't mean, hey, we got it. But I mean, we will wait to see before we get the quote in that ballpark cost, as
I
Miguel y'all is saying.
Once the board votes, if they vote in a way that will allow us to share that exact up to the penny, I will.
Carl, please note that the board consists of Republicans and Democrats, so this wouldn't be
Because I've never covered it.
I know you know that, but for members of the public, this isn't one side or the other. This is a bipartisan board. So if they unanimously approve it, that would be indicative that this is a good thing for all the voters of Richland County.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if I agree just because the Republicans.
Well, okay, but you know what I mean. This isn't one side making the call, okay? This is discussion. There's some sensitivity around elections that we need to be cognizant of.
Absolutely.
The only other thing I want to talk about is support wise. We have a website they can go to that has all the instructions they need. You can reach us through the 800 number. All of us can be texted and called. If you talk to Ashland County,
Wait, Ashland has this? Oh, well, we don't want that then. I mean, if Jim Justice has it.
Ashland and Medina are two of the 5 counties that recently chose us because they had a lot of people that got canceled that they didn't want canceled. And
Or anti-cancel culture in this office.
and so they have discovered that if they're working at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. or Saturday or Sunday, they can still get a hold of us because that's what we do.
And Jane and I did talk to quite a few other counties at conference, and nothing but good.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone that passed triad that we talked to, great. And we talked with Ashland County, Amanda and Shannon as well. Conversion went well. So they're really happy that they did convert.
It's always a project to convert voter registration databases. You're always going to come across a few snags, but they said working with Triad had made it
But
very,
it's also good inherent in the process then that you have cleanup sort of taking place as you go through this. So that's not necessarily a bad thing.
right.
There's gonna be a lot of cleanup
Good.
because the data we're inheriting, one of the reasons they cancel so many people by mistake is because their system, every single time a person registers, they have a new record again and again and again and again. So I might have, if I'm a nomad that comes and goes, I might have 10 records. We don't do that. We have one record for human. We track every time they move with a transaction. So there's only one record for human. And that makes it a lot easier to manage. We don't have audit issues with the state. Audit issues with the state means that there's the official record at the state has something different than your record here. And the record that's official is the one at the state. We don't have that problem with our counties because we always connect to the right record. The problem you guys have, you can't connect to the right record because you don't know what record to connect to.
Yeah, that's true. Like a voter could have, like you said, 5, 10 different records. You know, all of them are canceled, but one's active.
Makes it harder to
It's
support them.
extremely hard. And especially if, say, for example, they put the last 4 digits of their social, and then the next time they register, they put their driver's license, there's miscommunication there. It's much easier just to have the voter and then all the other records underneath them. Much more accurate.
Well, you get a head nod for me.
I agree.
Media, you have any questions?
How would this change, or would it change in any way how somebody actually registers to vote? Will the voters see anything
Nope.
different?
No,
No.
nothing different on that.
Still vote, register online. They can do it by mail. They can do it at agencies.
With our system, they could go and download their absentee application online because we put all that out.
And they could only do their own,
They
correct?
can only do their own. We have a one-to-one relationship.
I think that's extremely important.
Oh, yeah, very important. But I
I knew
tell
he was going to
people
ask
is,
that.
what I tell people is that we manage each record. Every human has one record for them, and we track everything on that record. Trying to get more than one absentee application would be as easy as trying to get more than one driver's license. As easy as trying to get more than one social security card, because we only have one record.
So in other words, we won't be Chicago and Richland County.
We
We'll explain that to you, Matt.
yeah, Chicago did voters.
Yeah, that won't be the case here.
Cook County.
Jose, what is your last name and what is your title with the company?
Last name is Trejo, Trejo, and the title is election specialist.
Did you get that, Al?
Not quite. Trejo.
J-O, that is correct. Trejo.
Okay.
Any other questions?
All right. It is this system is internal. Then there's, I know one concern, whether it's legitimate or not, is people are worried about hacking. This is not any kind of system that can be hacked, or do you have securities to avoid hacking?
All of the data is contained in a server that is dedicated to just the election officials or to the election databases. In fact, that's one of the security enhancements that the Secretary of State made. They separated regular documents and stuff in one server and all the election specific stuff in another server. They have a .gov environment. It's locked down, real secure by the Secretary of State. We have no online presence where they could connect to our system at all. The information that you see online is data that is securely transmitted to a secure website that, in fact, we used to host those servers and it would automatically go to the website, but we don't host them anymore. We contract with a secure website that when we send all the data, it takes around 30 or 40 minutes before it gets cleared and put on the website.
And it is not part of the tabulation software, Al. That's why I asked the question I did.
Yeah, I understand it's not part of the tabulation, but if you're talking about, voter fraud, and, hacking in and developing a fake ID and stuff like that, that was, the kind of question that I was looking at.
They would have to get to, that server that is managed by your IT staff is locked down and
Monitor
monitored in our data.
security and Secretary of State.
The critical elements like social security and driver's license number are encrypted.
Al, you want to say yours publicly so we can have it?
You think I'm that crazy?
Software, one you've had since 2004, is your provider.
DEMS,
Not Dems, Dems.
DIMS, not DE.
Can be clear.
Okay, if that's all the questions. It's 11:06 and we will adjourn the meeting.